Well, we are here. Still only two cameras. We Ryan, we tried to get Keith in here. Let's discuss that.
Yeah. Well, Keith has relocated, so he doesn't have all of his equipment yet.
Yeah, he's in like a
So
little shed, like a little box, and obviously, he tried to like plug in the Ethernet cable to it. So unfortunately, he's just like, dude, it is a cardboard box. It literally will not provide electricity or internet for you.
yeah, it's not enough potatoes to run his computer right now. I don't even know if he has his computer
Yeah, it's
at the
tough.
moment.
Welcome everybody to a very, very special and memorable edition of the Patreon private show for a Sunday. I was going to say Saturday, Sunday, September 20th. Is that like 10 and 20? Hey, we're skipping 10 days, but yeah, September 10th, 2017. We don't have Keith here, but everything that we talk about here, we definitely talked about with Keith. We have a couple of questions from Barnables and from Overcooked Bacon that we'll get to. And remember, guys, this is basically a 1 hour show that's all about you. We do have a very important topic that about, in 20, 30 minutes in, we definitely want to get to, and then get your feedback. Anything else you want to say, Ryan? I mean, I have internet. I have electricity. That's a thing.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, my mother lives in Fort Myers right now, so I don't know how things are looking pretty bad
Have you
for
talked to her today?
not today, but I was talking to her throughout the weekend. So they did not leave Florida, which is really worrying me, but I assume they're taking all the precautions necessary. So hopefully the hurricane kind of veers a little more outside of where they are,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're not getting directly hit. So yeah, hoping for the best there. Barnaballs said he started watching Game of Thrones last Thursday. He's halfway
Whoa.
through season 3. The show has officially consumed his life. If you guys want to talk about that, that's fine, but no spoilers. I'm glad you started, man. Yeah, once you really get towards the end of that first season, it gets addictive and you can't stop. So you got plenty to enjoy, man.
Yeah.
So be ready for you got a lot of time.
You got plenty of
I'm sure you're
time.
gonna finish. Yeah, I'm sure you get finished pretty quickly, but the next season is not gonna be till, I mean, we don't know for sure yet, but it could be like October 2018. I don't know. Who knows?
Wait, but it could be later, right? It could be 19.
It could be even later. It could be 2019, but that's just all speculation because the final season is going to just have way more going on.
Yeah, yeah. So far, welcome Barnables, welcome Riley Kennedy, and welcome Nicole. And greetings to everybody that is checking us out via video archive. We tried to make sure that that everybody can attend. I DM'd the Gold patrons directly, but I know it's challenging. Time zone differences. Like Overcooked Bacon, he's like 12 hours ahead. So yeah, it's a little bit challenging. What else do we have here? Hashtag bring Keith back. And then Sushin writes, guys, imagine this hurricane coming to Florida when we were Orlando at WrestleMania. Oh, that would have been something.
That
right?
certainly would have shook things up. Luckily, hurricane season is primarily like August into like October-ish. So WrestleMania fortunately never falls during that time, but I think it's best that they don't try to do SummerSlams in Florida, probably.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably a good practice, is to avoid pay-per-views around that time.
Can you imagine like drunk Keith and me stuck in like hurricane time? I think we kill each other.
Yeah. Especially if you're wearing the wig.
Oh. Hey, drunk Keith and me in a wig. I don't want to know where this goes. I also went to see It yesterday. It was pretty good. I thought, get it? It was pretty good, huh? Oh, you're smart balls.
I do want to see that, because the old like TV movie, like 2-part TV movie that came out a long time ago, that like scared the crap out of me as a kid. But you watch it now and it's laughably, with all the special effects, it's pretty laughable. But I feel like I have to see this new one. Honestly, people need to, like, one thing movies need to get better at is making trailers, because I feel like so many trailers just paint the wrong picture of a movie. Like, it's either comedies will do all the good jokes in the trailer, or like a horror movie, like this It trailer made it look like just a stupid generic horror movie that you've seen a million times, when we know there's more to it. Uh, but all the good reviews and reception from everybody makes me think it's worth seeing. But the previews like did not tell me that at all.
Yeah, the challenging thing is, I don't know if you guys know this, but my background is in film production. What happens is that the same company that edits and produces the movie is not the same company that produces the trailers. They're usually these companies that do market research and go like, okay, who do you want to appeal to for the trailer? If you want to appeal to like the 15-year-olds, they just grab footage that's what you're gearing to. So in the process, we get what you just mentioned. There's a lot of movies that the trailer has killed it, because the problem is it's perception, right? Like, how do you judge whether people will like this or not when nobody has seen it? Or maybe like it's not a final cut. Usually they don't get all the clips, or they don't get the entire movie. They only get a portion of it. This one was super gory compared to the old It, but I would consider the film a high regard if the trailer hadn't shown that much in the trailers. Yeah, I mean that's another problem with the trailers. But let's get to a couple of the questions, because we got to get through a couple of them. So we're talking about Barnables, and I feel like this one, maybe we kick it off with something random. Barnables asks, is the brother man Bill at the top of the hill? The
brother man Bill is indeed at the top of the hill. Da 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 da.
This may surprise you, Ryan. The first time that I ever heard that song, you want to know when it was? 10 minutes ago.
Wait, 10 minutes ago?
I've heard clips of it. I have never
you
actually.
You didn't hear it during like streams that Keith and I.
Yeah. But like going to YouTube and checking out the original video, it was 10 minutes ago. Like I had never seen the video.
10 minutes ago, you found out the brother man Bill's got a bottle of brother man chill pills.
Yeah, I did.
Or that the brother man Bill put the terrible Tim at the top of the bill.
Terrible person.
Or that brother man Bill promotes the show, the room is guaranteed to be filled.
Only on
so
Wednesdays.
Many people in the audience. I hope none of you people get killed.
I feel like I got to put a silhouette of Keith over you, but I don't have the technological capabilities.
I had to do it in place of Keith.
Yeah. So that is your answer, Barnables. Hope you're happy with that one. If you had to choose one wrestling promotion, this one comes from Overcooked Bacon. If you had to choose one wrestling promotion to watch on a weekly basis, excluding WWE, what would it be? Mine would be Ring of Honor. So there's a lot of options. Like there's even like special shows. I feel like this question, it's like, I don't know.
Southpaw Regional Wrestling.
Yeah. It's like, remove the wrestling. We only need the character development and terrible storylines, right?
Yeah. If I could have Southpaw once a week, that would honestly be my choice. I like the comedy and the entertainment, and yeah, I've seen enough matches. I want the funny stuff.
Yeah. But for me, I kind of like just special events like Wrestle Circus. I don't know if you guys watched that, but they just had another event yesterday. They do these shows where they draw like 200 people live, but then they become a Twitch partner. So it's like this full-blown wrestling company that they make most of their profit from Twitch. So like yesterday,
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, like yesterday they had like an average of 2,000 people watching live. And what's cool, and I don't know economically how they go about how they sustain themselves, and they've confirmed this, and wrestlers have also confirmed this. Like for example, yesterday's show was 100% charity. So not only would all the basically all the proceeds went to like Hurricane Harvey. So it's like, hey, we got another hurricane going on, because obviously they arranged this beforehand. So now they want to try to like cover as much, like all the tips that they would get on Twitch would go directly to that. So that's awesome. Adam Cole was actually there.
That's the great thing about things like Twitch, is that honestly, any indie promotion that's running a show, how much extra does it honestly cost to get a couple of camera people, a computer, OBS, and you just stream it too. So you can be more than just a local promotion. Even if you only do shows locally, you might be able to get a following from people, or just people who can't make it to the show can watch it on Twitch. So that might be the next step for a lot of smaller companies. There might be some more barriers to like pay-per-views and things like that aren't there for Twitch. I don't know how difficult it is to set those up, but I imagine that's not even that bad. But you might have to. There might be a lot more costs involved with that. I'm not sure.
It's not that much. Like when I worked here in Puerto Rico, it's kind of funny. Like this is all happening now, but I remember having this conversation like 3 years ago or so about why do we like don't produce wrestling for the audience that is local. Like produce it like you never know who's gonna watch it. You know, like Puerto Rico wrestling. If it's in Spanish, other places understand Spanish. So like reach out to like Argentina, Spain, Venezuela. Reach out to these other markets and maybe they don't have a lot going on, you know. But regarding to this, it would probably be Lucha Underground. I think would be something like that. Like I would like just a seasonal format show. But even Lucha Underground has really suffered a lot, you know, with people just leaving, contractual stuff. So like it just seems like it's really hard to tell one narrative story in a wrestling show. Does NXT count? I would only presume not, but it's probably the only thing I would really watch. Yeah, honestly, like I know you don't check out NXT, Ryan, but it's been pretty good lately. Like I'm still not a fan of the whole like Adam Cole's in here. Like everybody, we're getting another batch of here's everybody that made it big in the Indies, and their character is well, I'm the guy from the Indies. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's exciting that all these talented people are coming to NXT. It is. It's nice. I mean, this is the like back in the mid 2000s and stuff. Like we dreamed of this stuff. We thought, oh, like a lot of like WWE will never sign these guys. Well, now WWE's
everybody.
signing literally every guy you can think of, aside from basically Kenny Omega
And the Young Bucks.
the Young Bucks. They're literally the only. I mean, I'm sure there's more, but like the main holdouts are those two. You know, and yeah, it's awesome in that light, but for the actual storylines, it's like there's a legitimate cycle that just keeps happening over and over again, and that's kind of where it gets stuck. I mean, at least they're doing kind of a faction, right, with Adam Cole, so that's a little bit different, you know.
It's almost like they need to like bulletize that faction.
But it's like the amount of people coming into the company versus the people leaving is getting a little out of control, that it's just like, how can you honestly say that they're going to have a spot for these guys in a year when they have so many other people? Like, I mean, we still kind of have Finn Balor kind of biding his time. You know, Bobby Roode just hit the main roster. Like, you have so many people flooding in, and just, you know, like the Big Show is still around. Kane hasn't even officially retired yet. If he doesn't win his election, he could be back.
Everybody's going to be there. And Keith is in the chat, folks. Keith is alive. Ryan, you didn't tie him up tight enough, you bastard. What the hell? You had one job. I told you.
He got out of his leash. Like, he escaped the shed.
Okay, we paid one ticket for you to Canada just so you could tie him up to that tree behind this house so he wouldn't make it here. You couldn't even do that one thing, Ryan. Do you have anything else to add to that?
I should get a better chain next time.
Yeah, off the chain. Let's move on to the next question then, shall we?
Yes, please. Please.
The next bunch is still from Overcooked Bacon. Everybody has any questions live, remember, we're here for you guys. So this one is similar topic. Who do you think will be back or debut in WWE first? Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, or Ronda Rousey? So like that last question, that last answer, I'm going to neglect Ronda because it's like, it's basically all but going to happen at some point. So between Rhodes...
Yeah, she's probably going to do that, the 4 horsewomen versus the 4 horsewomen match. So that'll probably be her foot in the door. And there's a decent chance down the line she'll be full-time.
Yeah.
But of the other ones, who is likely... Cody Rhodes seems like the most likely, but I feel like he's, you know, really enjoying himself outside the company. I don't really want to see him back. I mean, maybe this is a touchy example now, but it's like Del Rio or El Patron. Like, he left and he felt like, you know, he kind of felt renewed and like reinvigorated. And then he came back and it kind of was like same old shit.
Yep.
And then he left again. So I feel like Cody Rhodes is better off just like staying away, you know?
Yeah, agreed. Although, Like, I mean, this isn't really spoiler territory because it's pure speculation. I don't think it's any coincidence that WWE seems to be, tackling into a lot of former Bullet Club members for the WWE. Like just recently, the Young Bucks, I think that was this morning, they tweeted, "Where's Hangman Page at?" And they took a screenshot of his account, of his Twitter account, and he just recently followed Triple H and WWE Universe. And usually,
oh man,
that's what it tells. And then Cody Rhodes, I think this was yesterday or somewhere around that, was tweeting like just being thankful for everybody, and then just said, "You'll love what's going to happen next." Like the fact, like I know we're saying this as if it were never going to happen, but look at the current roster. We easily could have the Bullet Club in WWE, like the actual Bullet Club. Like you never know. WWE has enough money. And the Young Bucks love to work people. Like, they could have, like, this whole thing. Like, they apparently can't do the crotch chop. They can't do all of... This could all be a work, dude. This could all be a work to be, like, this NWO-type faction inserted into the WWE.
It could, but it probably won't.
Damn it, man. But can at least...
They like to do their own thing.
Let me fantasy book a little bit. Like, you don't let me have fun, man. That's the problem, right? I don't get to have fun around here. I want to be like Cyndi Lauper. I already got a wig. I can put that on. Okay, I can already tell.
It's not the right color hair, but
dude, whatever. I can paint that. I can paint that. So the next one is, what is your definition of a dream holiday? I'm gonna say Jethro holiday is my definition of that. That's when one of the no, I won't even know. I ain't gonna even do one of my terrible jokes. Ryan, what's your definition of a dream holiday?
A dream holiday. Who asked this?
This is Overcooked Bacon.
Okay, because is this holiday like? Because I know some people use the term holiday where it's like they go on vacation.
Let's go with that. Let's go with that.
Holiday, is this holiday like Christmas?
Well, he says, what is your definition of a dream holiday? Like, it would be weird.
My definition of a dream holiday is when you're asleep and you have a dream about, like, Christmas. That would be a dream holiday to me. You wake up and you're like, oh, it's just a dream. It's not really Christmas. That would be my definition.
That is the literal definition. Yeah, I'm like, whoa.
They asked for my definition. That is the answer you will receive.
Then say like Ryan, you and I, we put some money aside and we were like, Ryan, we should go out together. We should have a nice vacation, you and I.
We never go out anymore.
Yeah, we never go out anymore. You only take me out to McDonald's for the dollar menu, and it's getting kind of old, Ryan. Where would you take me?
I know you just want the Happy Meal toy. You don't even care about the burger.
I just want the Happy Meal, Ryan. Where would you take me in said vacation?
Where would I take you? There's a few places I'd really like to go. I would love to go to Vegas. I don't really have the money to be gambling. So
don't gamble my heart.
Yeah. I won't. I never will. Juan, I never will. I don't know. See, everything I want to do is just like eat food in places,
So like, what about this? Because like, I guess taking it to my answer, like I'm sort of similar. Keith says the sun is his answer for the dream holiday. Just go into the sun and die. So death.
Or Keith wants to take you to the sun.
Oh damn
Drop
it!
You off.
Damn it! Love you, Keith. But like, I'm sort of similar. Like, Nicole and I are gonna spend New Year's in New York because that's where our honeymoon was, and we've been thinking like, if we were to travel anywhere, like, where would you like to go? And then I'm like super neutral about that stuff. I'm very much like, what's the food in that place? So maybe like a gastronomic thing where you go to different places and try out different food, like. Because if you can be in one location, like that's why I do like New York. New York is very diverse. Same thing when I traveled to Seattle. But I've been to places where it's like pizza and burgers. And after the second day, I'm like, okay, I expected more because I can get that back at home. So wherever we can get culturally diverse food at different prices, like that's my definition of a dream vacation for sure. So before going on any further, like just thinking about things that are happening right now. We did want Keith to really be here because, well, we are a 3-man team. Although, Keith, you're kind of here. But I guess it's time to double check that we have no other questions. and we don't, which is why I am currently stalling. Oh boy. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably not, this isn't necessarily a question, but the hardest thing that we have ever had to really talk about here. And no, this is not a joke. So, Byte that. It started in 2013, and it's going to end in 2017. Oh, this is see, I had a lot more prep time, but now it's kind of like crap. What do you really say after saying this? Ryan and I in particular, it goes all the way back to like August 31st. That was the podcast episode where the lights went out and like we recorded on a Thursday. So that day the lights came back, and for the past couple of months, and this has been talked about between the three of us. Like, I just want to clarify everything that we're about to share. The three of us had a conversation about this is not a joke. You know, it like the fact that Keith is not here is just pure coincidence. We don't need no damn speculation about Keith turning on us.
No drama.
Yeah. So when that day came back, what happened was that we've been talking about this for a couple of months where honestly, we're not enjoying WWE. We're not enjoying Raw. We're not enjoying watching SmackDown. And it feels like the podcast, as it kept going, it needed to be this whole thing of how can they do it better? How can they do it better? Instead of talking about how much we are enjoying things, it seemed like it was just going souther and souther, and like watching a 5-hour show and then recording. We love recording the show. Like, that's what sucked, right? Like, we knew going in, it's like, this freaking sucks. We love doing what we do, but we don't love what we're talking about. And on August 31st, when the lights came back, Ryan and I in particular sat down. It's like, we need to have the conversation that we've been afraid to talk about for months. And that is this. And the first question was, do we enjoy watching WWE and talking about it? The answer was no. So, Ryan, I need a second here. So just take
Yeah.
it for me, baby.
Yeah, it really comes down to, once again, there's no drama between any of the three of us. Keith had to relocate, and that's why he's not here. It has nothing to do with, Keith left the show, everything fell apart, and it has nothing to do with that. We love doing pretty much everything else aside from watching WWE. And the thing is, it's very time consuming. We all dedicate essentially 3 days out of the week, sometimes more on pay-per-view weeks and more just extra days for editing and stuff. But at the very least, it takes 3 days. You know, we all work full time, 3 days, watch Raw, watch SmackDown, do the show on Wednesday. And it's a lot of time to dedicate. And when things stop, when we lose our passion for it, it's not fair to you guys, I feel like, especially as Patreon supporters, for us to continue when our passion isn't there. Barnaballs just asked, will you guys still be interacting with us and stuff? Are you guys going to try and do something else? 100%. 100%. We are still, I can't speak for Keith, but Juan and myself have ideas for projects. On my Twitter, I talked about Twitch streaming. So that's my new initiative, is I'm going to start streaming games on Twitch. Juan has multiple channels. I'll let him talk about that in a minute. So we're 100%, we're not going away. I know for a lot of those who enjoyed only our wrestling content, this might be goodbye. And we understand that. That's what drew you guys in. So if that's the content you care about, there's a lot of great podcasts out there for you guys to check out. And I respect the people that still can find something to be passionate about. Like, this isn't me saying I hate wrestling or anything like that. In fact, I need to just take a lot of time away from wrestling. But, something like New Japan is something I feel like I might want to get into later on down the line. They don't have a show every single week. It's easier for me to follow, come back in every now and again to follow. It just doesn't take the commitment that WWE takes, especially if you're doing reviews and stuff for it. So yeah, we're not going away anywhere, but Byte that as it is now is going away.
Yeah, I think that it's very important that we're transparent about, we had conversations, hey, we can maybe transform the channel, we could do a couple of different things. Like, the thing that really ties us up together, not just to really quote the song, is wrestling, and then we realize, like, outside of wrestling, we have very different tastes. Like, we're all gamers, right? But we like different genres. We consume everything else differently. Like, the whole reason we started doing Byte that was because the three of us always sat down, speculated, reacted to what was happening, and we felt like that's the thing. So will Byte that die completely? The answer is yes, in sense. Like, the Byte that YouTube channel, we will have one last podcast episode at the end of the month. Like, we're going to be good by you guys. So we're going to finish up this month. That's very important, especially for our Gold supporters. We are going to be doing that. But the Byte that Twitter, everything else, will be resting in peace, probably like around September 27th. We're going to leave
the YouTube. Like, we're going to leave the channel running.
Yeah, for archival stuff.
All the old videos will stay up. The Patreon, we will honor everyone who paid for this month. You will get content till the end of the month. We are going to pause the Patreon at the end of the month. So you will not be charged any further. We'll make sure of that. But you guys all paid for rewards this month, and we will deliver that. So that will be honored. And so you don't have to worry. We'll leave the podcast feed up.
Yeah, for a couple more months. With your Patreon pledges, we're actually going to put that to make sure. Some people like are archiving old podcasts, so maybe we'll have that going for a couple of months so people can download that. Barnables writes, your guys' wrestling content drew me in. Your personalities are what kept me watching, and your other interests are what always made you guys interesting and fun to talk to. Thanks a lot, man. And honestly, like, that right there, it's kind of weird, right? Like, you do something for so many years, and in Ryan and mine's case, like, we go all the way back to like CWE, like little kids, just doing content together. And I was just thinking about that this morning. Like, this will be the first time we ever take a hard pause on like wrestling, because like Ryan has taken a break from wrestling. I took like a small break, but this is the first time where like I'm done watching Raw and SmackDown. Like, I am done watching Raw and SmackDown. I'm going to be doing, because Ryan mentioned the Twitch stuff. Like, I just want to quickly mention, so in my case, I will also be streaming. So that's going to be through Press Pause. I've already been doing that. So, if you guys want to hang out with me before Raw, you can still do that. I also restarted my YouTube channel, which is Epic JC. We'll make sure, like, throughout the next couple of weeks to really promote as hard as possible, like, where we're going to be. So if you guys want to carry that conversation with us, then you can. We also understand that not everybody's a gamer. So if like the end of our wrestling content kind of means like the goodbye for us, like, we hope that we at least can continue this friendship. For the patrons, the Discord, we're going to keep that up. We don't, like, there's no reason we need to delete that. So if you guys just still want to like hang out as a close-knit community, or whatever you guys want to turn that to, like, that channel was for you guys. So whatever you want to do with that, like, let us know. But this has been,
we can, what we can do with the Discord is, we're just going to open that up to anyone who wants to join.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, we've made a lot of friends through this, so we don't want to, we don't want to lose you guys. So, Barnabal is like, we know we're going to be still hanging out gaming together. Like, that ain't going away.
Yeah, you're still going to see Ryan suck at Battlegrounds. That's not changing.
Yeah, and Overwatch as well.
Yeah. But it's been tough, just getting to like the whole path, right? And we're making this part available for everybody after the podcast. So the next question would be, when is this being announced? And that is next podcast. So that's on my birthday. So it's kind of a crappy date to really announce all this, but it will be announced there. And then from then on out, then we'll just do a couple of closure podcasts and then ending it at the end of the month. And like, going back to what I was going to mention earlier. So it's kind of interesting. Like, I've been looking back at the YouTube channel for the past month or so, right? Since like we contemplated that we knew this was going to happen at some point, right? And just looking at it, and it is interesting how initially we were just reacting to a lot in a good way. Like, this happened on Raw, and the conversation was just, how do we like that? How do we feel about that? But then it seems like in particular, and I don't want to say like CM Punk had to deal with it, but CM Punk had to deal with it in a way. there is definitely this shift from just talk about what's happening with WWE to like what's happening in the WWE. And then it became like, why is this happening in the WWE? Then it's like, how can we see this differently to sort of stay positive? And I don't think it's any coincidence that we see a lot of people online, really think about this the same way that we are right now. So that being said, it's like even waking up today, man, it wasn't easy. It's been a hell of a 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah,
here.
the hardest thing was like feeling like we were letting our listeners down. I mean, we get Facebook messages and all the all these people reaching out saying, they love the show. And that is the hardest part for all of us, is that we know people enjoy the show and we're taking something away from people, and we don't want to do that. But like I said, if our passion is no longer there, then you guys deserve better, honestly. So we want to do things that we're passionate about. And if the podcast isn't there for us anymore, that opens up a lot more time for all of us to work on other things. That opens up, I could stream, 5 days a week now if I wanted to. So it really opens things up. So I mean, if Raw is boring and one of us is streaming, you can come hang out, whatever. So we're kicking around a lot of ideas, so we're definitely not going away.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing Raw up. Another part of why we sort of realize that we got to do this, we don't want our perspective of WWE to have a negative impact on your perspective. There's a lot of people that are young that are just watching and they enjoy the product, and like I was putting myself in the listener's shoes, like, man, stop that. Like, stop just crapping on the product, but think of how long we have been watching wrestling, and particularly WWE, right? And it's just like, it's a bad TV show. And I remember we said one time, like, if this was anything else other than wrestling, we would never watch it again. But because we have this habit, you grow up, on Monday nights, what you do is watch Raw. Like, that's it. You can do whatever you want before or after, but you watch Raw. And then once you realize as a wrestling fan, like, you know what? Am I watching this out of habit or because I really want to? Then that's when the conversation really kind of changes a little bit. And Barnables writes, WWE basically struggled too much to produce a show that you guys could simply enjoy and talk about, and instead caused everyone to say how to make it better for such a long time that it no longer feels worth it. Like, I want to bring up an example, and I know people like this channel, and I fully respect that. I don't want to be wall culture. I never wanted to be what culture. I don't want to just speculate about how they should book X and Y. And we've kind of done it, every now and then, because you have to. Like, I don't think any sane podcast host can just talk about WWE on a week-to-week basis, and you'll let me know if I'm wrong, Ryan, and just sort of accept what's happening and just enjoy it on 5 hours, 2 nights a week.
Yeah, I mean, you got to come up with things to talk about. Sometimes wrestling doesn't give you much to talk about, so you kind of got to pull things out of thin air. And if something isn't going exactly how you wanted it to, I mean, every show people kind of fantasy book in a way. They say, oh man, if they had done the story like this instead, it would have been so much better. So that happens with every single TV show. I mean, just think about Dexter and Lost. Those are two shows that could have afforded to go in a different direction in certain areas. So yeah, that's the thing, is just I don't even want to say WWE has, like, because they've changed, I no longer enjoy it. And don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of things to like about WWE. Like, what's happening with Braun Strowman right now is great. And I really do hope he wins the championship at No Mercy. Like, I still found some things to enjoy during Raw and SmackDown this week, for sure. Like, I forgot to bring up the Dolph Ziggler thing this week, but that was a disappointment. So I'll talk about that more on next week's podcast. But I still do find things to enjoy about the show, but just overall, I'm burnt out on it, and I think that I have personally changed more so than I think WWE has changed. I think what I enjoy has changed. Thank you for the follow.
Thank you,
Christian Carter. Thank you for subscribing. I don't know if you're probably not listening right now because
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
private
yeah.
show. But hey, you probably it's a little awkward. You know what's going on right
Hey!
now. Enjoy the content. um, yeah, I think just what I enjoy has changed, and how important character driven stories and well written intricate plots, that's what I really strive for, and there's a lot of TV shows providing that right now, and WWE is not one of them. So I've just been kind of drawn to I've really been drawn away by just how many other awesome shows are out there.
Eddie writes, I will miss the content a lot, but can totally appreciate and understand the decision. Your podcast came at a time of need in my life and most certainly filled a gap. And like I'll actually bring it to myself as well. Like the podcast for me, like after a while, it far exceeded wrestling. It was like on Wednesdays, I get to just have fun. Like we have fun on Wednesday nights, Maggle. Like I remember, I've been going through quite a couple of things that I've been vocal about on the podcast for the past couple of months, and without Byte that, I don't know how well I could have handled it because no matter how bad things were, it's like you got to sit down, grab that microphone, and have some fun. And I always felt better. I don't think I've ever had a podcast episode where I felt worse like than I did before going in. I like there'd be weeks where like we were even talking about WWE, like kind of like it's not that great, but then we finished the show and just had fun. Like even if it wasn't like a good wrestling week, we still had a lot of fun, which like is the other thing that I'm gonna like miss. Like the three of us, we have every week, with the exception of the odd episode where like Keith gets killed by a bear or something. The three of us sit down on Wednesdays and we just hang out as friends. And like, I know we're still going to communicate. We're not going to disappear. It's not going to be the same though, right? Like we won't have that obligation on Wednesdays to like talk between the three of us, to mess around, to do the terrible jokes. And I will miss that for sure.
This is what I'm going to miss is just that, like this is a project that, I've worked on a bunch of different like projects in the past. Like we bring up our little internet wrestling league, and I never was dedicated to a hobby or side project as long as I was dedicated to Byte that. And because of Juan and Keith, having two other people who kind of backed you up, it keeps you motivated. So that's what's gonna be a challenge for me for streaming, is making sure I keep up with it, because consistency is 100% the key. Anyone who wants to make content, consistency is it. Just being dedicated and continually doing it is what is how you find your success. So that's going to be a new challenge, is just finding my, personal motivation to keep going. Cause I do want, I like to have a project going on that, you want to grow something. But yeah, when it comes to WWE, it's just, I don't know. It's just, it's not there anymore for me,
Nicole writes, Ryan, you said you're going to start Twitch streaming. What games are you planning to stream?
I'm thinking of focusing mainly on single player games, but I'll throw in some multiplayer games when other people want to play. But Fallout New Vegas, I think, is going to be the one I'm going to start with, and I'll just start a fresh file. I've played Fallout 3, I've played Fallout 4, I've played Skyrim. I've never beaten any of them, but I want to play New Vegas, and I'm going to actually play through the whole game.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that you got to realize.
I did think about Hearthstone, Barnaballs. I know you brought up Hearthstone. It's a very saturated market on Twitch. I'm not going to say I'm not going to play it, but I don't know. I don't know if Hearthstone. I don't know. I love Hearthstone, but I don't know if I want to dedicate streaming time to Hearthstone, because I know what it takes to be successful in the Hearthstone scene.
Yeah, you've been involved in that, so
yes, I've watched a lot of Hearthstone streams, and I know the hours that people put in to be successful there, and I don't know if I'm willing to commit to that quite yet. But I will play every once in a while.
What I wanted to say is that I don't think once we made this decision, right, about 2 weeks ago, you start to realize just how much time WWE can consume. if you want to watch like everything that they do have to offer. Like especially for me with the Hurricane this past week, I didn't watch any. I was gonna say any Hearthstone. Haven't watched any WWE, and I didn't miss it. Like once I realized, like I have 3 hours on Monday that I can just dedicate to playing a game. And like as a kid, there were two things I loved doing, and I'm going to talk about that on the Epic GC channel this week. Cheap plug. And it was watching wrestling and playing games. Wrestling was a lot shorter then, which would allow me to play more games. So what happens when wrestling becomes longer? And then you also have to do the responsibly enough. Like even though I enjoy doing the podcast, you do the podcast on top of the 5 hours, and then the odd 205 Live or NXT or pay-per-view. Video games took a backseat, and it happened to a point where whenever I started playing a game, I would second guess myself or have to be like, oh man, I can't play this because like tomorrow's the pay-per-view, so like I got to play more today. And it became like I stopped enjoying playing games. So like this week, I had the Switch charged because we didn't have any electricity, and I was playing Thumper. That's a really freaking good game, by the way. It's like music rhythm, but it's like action-based. Also, it's badass. And it was the first time in a while after we made that decision where I'm like, I don't have to watch that now. So I can just sit here, play it, and then talk about it, like on the channels or like the community stuff. Because like really, like that's I guess like the other podcast topic that we could sort of bring up here is the audience. So like realistically, our audience had a huge shift on iTunes and YouTube. It felt like it completely changed. Like if you look at the YouTube channel, we are seriously not far off from where we were at like first year and a half of the podcast, right?
Yeah. Yeah, certainly that was another thing that was discouraging. What I kind of lost my words earlier. I meant to say about WWE is just I feel like, and I'll jump back to what we were talking about, but I feel like WWE isn't going to be what I want it to be. And, it's like a relationship. It's like a relationship. I can't expect them to change and adapt to me. I have to find
It's not
what
you,
I
Ryan.
like,
It's me. It's me.
Yeah, exactly. It's not you, WWE. It's me. So wait, what were we talking about again?
Crap, I forgot now.
Crap.
This is awkward.
Chat.
Okay, we were talking. Oh, podcast audience, YouTube channel.
Okay, yes. Okay, so for basically 3 years, because this kind of started around this time last year, actually. So for 3 years, we were very happy that we had steady growth on our both podcast feed and YouTube channel. It was always steady growth. Every month we were getting subs and working our way up, and it was nice. And let me make it clear, it's not all about the numbers, but when you've been growing for 3 straight years and then you hit a wall, it is definitely discouraging. So around September, October last year, YouTube, there was a major change in algorithm. Like our YouTube channel crashed like really hard, and it was very discouraging. But our RSS podcast feed numbers were still great. So we were like, okay, at least we got that. So for a while, and that was probably a mistake, we didn't do too much to try and alleviate the YouTube channel, and try and figure out why we weren't doing as well as we used to. I think a lot of it had to do with related videos. They changed the way that worked. A lot of people were finding us through related videos, and all of a sudden we just weren't coming up anymore. And then right after WrestleMania, our RSS took a huge hit. I don't know what happened, but it was definitely significant. So like we don't know how much that is, maybe our loss of passion is showing through in our content or something like that. But to work so hard as we did, and then, we see, and also it could just be interest in WWE is also fading, at least on the YouTube podcast side as well. We understand there's many reasons people stop listening or whatever, but it only kind of helped affirm our eventual decision. But YouTube, I learned a lot about the YouTube algorithm and did a lot of things to try and just improve visibility for our videos. And in a way, it did work a little bit. Certainly, there's a tool TubeBuddy out there for anyone who uses YouTube. I recommend it. Definitely helps a lot if you're trying to grow your YouTube channel. I mean, one, I know you'll probably find a lot of use for it on your channel. So, but yeah, it's like that just kind of helped because like at the end of the day, even when wrestling was really bad, we could always be like, you know what, at least we're growing. We're always growing. Numbers are steady. But when a lot of things, all the crap hits the fan at once, it's like, maybe we should really take a look at what we're doing and see, is this really what we want to be doing?
Oh boy, Eddie asked Eddie, I don't know if you realize how badly you just opened up Pandora's box. Does it annoy you that you could improve that? Like, let me try this again. Eddie writes, does it annoy you that you could go for clickbait titles and it would instantly improve numbers? Would increased viewership from that method feel hollow? Ryan,
yes.
The floor is yours.
Yes. Okay. That's the thing is we hate that. And for a while, guilty as charged, we did a little bit of clickbait in our day about the Stone Cold podcast because it would get our numbers up significantly for the podcast. But the truth is that those numbers are very hollow because people click in, they see that it's not what they wanted. And that was a little misleading what we did with the Stone Cold podcast thing. But yeah, any clickbait is generally not good because YouTube has actually accounted for that now. If they see a video gets a lot of views for like the first 10 seconds and then they go away from the video, it kind of like de-ranks you now. So it's bad to actually do clickbait. But something kind of similar to clickbait is just kind of like dramatic headlines for different stories. And we didn't want to just be news reporters, right? One thing that like might be a little bit of a curious thing that was actually kind of discouraging for us was, we work super hard on a lot of these videos and we understand some of them are just not going to be that visible. If we make a very specific video, like, why WWE hasn't evolved and the rest of TV has, one of our favorite videos, it's very difficult for that to just be something that someone finds. But
because you didn't write why WWE sucks. Sadly.
Yeah, we didn't do something. We didn't want to do that headline. We didn't I lobbied for us to say, Cena destroys Roman Reigns in a promo instead of buries because I just hated, I couldn't be like,
and we both had the conversation where it's like, we both agree, buried, we want to avoid that. However, realistically, this is where things are going and this is where it's not. And for context, this is not just in wrestling. I follow a lot of my favorite video game YouTubers and they will say on Twitter, it's like, I can't do this topic because it doesn't equal views and this is my job. So you're left.
And that's a huge problem. And what I to finish my thought was, we make that video about TV evolving or whatever. It gets a couple hundred views. And then I just make a video about Asuka giving up the championship. Big news, but I'm essentially just regurgitating a news report, giving a 1 minute take on it. And that gets 7,000 views. And I'm like, do we want to be the news reporting people? And the answer is no. And if that's what it takes to succeed in YouTube in the wrestling circle, then that's not really what we want to do. I mean, we enjoy speculating and giving our take on a full week show, having a full conversation amongst three people, but just kind of reporting the headlines, CM Punk 2017 return,
confirmed.
No, we don't want to be doing that. Definitely not.
Eddie writes, your response to this is why I love your approach and BT as a whole. By the way, it's so refreshing to see these days. It's a conversation another, I guess the other thing we realized, and obviously it's a lot of topics, is I remember Ryan mentioned to me a week ago, it's maybe for the best that our channel never exceeded a certain a threshold. If you look at our channel, we weren't nearly big enough to make it our careers, but we were also limited to sort of a genre. Going back to when I did a Call of Duty video, that's while we were still growing. I was like, oh, Ryan, let's do something non-wrestling. And the comments was go back to wrestling, go back to wrestling. It's okay, my bad. I'm not going to do that anymore. But then we were limited in a way But it's like, what would have happened? And that's the tricky part. If we were this ultra successful YouTube channel, we still didn't enjoy WWE. Like, I think that
then
would
we'd
have been
have more
terrible.
pressure to keep going. If it was becoming our living, then that's actually kind of worse in a situation, because it's like we don't really, if we don't want to do this anymore, like we're kind of stuck. So we're kind of thankful in that way that we didn't grow to a point where it'd actually be very difficult to get out. So we can kind of smoothly transition to something new, and it won't be that bad. And that's the thing is, I think there is a lot of unexplored space in the wrestling content creation world. I had a ton of ideas. Juan and I had planned uh, some things, but because we're very limited in we're all spread out far apart. If we all lived in the same town or the same city or whatever, there's a lot of like sketches and like comedy ideas that we had that we wanted to pursue, but it just was going to take way too much work to like basically special effect our way into looking like we're in the same room, or like having to jump all these hurdles of explanations. But I think there's a lot of untapped potential in wrestling that goes beyond what's available out there. I feel like it's just, there's so much of people just talking about wrestling. There's so much to make fun of in the wrestling world. There's so many memes out there. There's so much you could do that just isn't being done. And I had dreams of doing that, but it's just not quite plausible with our given situation.
Yeah, and in my case, I'm not done watching wrestling or even covering wrestling. I'm fully aware of that. It's going to be a while though. It's going to be a very good while, and whatever it is I do, I know Raw or SmackDown will not be a thing, and it will not be a matter of like, well, I watched this week's show. Here's what I think about it. I wanna be able to enjoy wrestling in a different light, in the way like if you watch a TV show, like how do you feel about what's going on? Like Ryan mentioned, there's New Japan, there's Wrestling Circus, which I watched yesterday. There's Lucha Underground, which you can enjoy in a seasonal format, so you can enjoy the wrestling part, but it is different, right? I just want less is more. Like even right now, if you were to ask me, am I going to stay subscribed to the network? I actually don't know. Like initially, it was like,
I
of
was about
course,
to ask you
yes.
that actually.
Like I don't know.
I'm See, in a almost troll fashion, I got like a 3-month WWE Network gift card for like Christmas. I still haven't used it. I think I'm gonna unsub, but I might come back for Rumble WrestleMania just to watch that stuff. But I'm definitely unsubbing. I might watch I think, are we gonna cover No Mercy? Yeah, we
Yeah,
still will
yeah,
cover it because it
that's still
falls
gonna
in the
be.
month. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So all right, I'm glad I get to see that. But after that, I think I'm just stepping away from it, man.
It's like, and this is completely serious because, like, for example, right now I enjoy NXT. I feel like I need to just back away from WWE, like as a whole. Is it just me that it feels like the longer you spend on the internet, the less I enjoy my time on it, whether it be certain communities or websites with scummy methods or of making money like YouTube clickbaiting? Dude, like I wish you'd mentioned this like 10 minutes early, because I could talk about this for an hour right now. Yes. First of all, the answer is frick yes. Like if there's anything that I am learning now, and like we'll really learn like in October, right? Like once we're all done with this, it's like once you remove yourself from a toxic environment, that in this case it's WWE, in a lot of the community it's honestly very offensive, like around WWE. Like look at their YouTube channel, look at their Facebook page. Like if there's anything that I'm grateful for is that we have a pretty positive community. Like all said and done, like I consider most of you friends, like actual legitimate friends that I play with, that I talk with, and like it's sadly not all of that. And I know like every community, like Game of Thrones, I'm sure has like a really crappy community somewhere, but it feels like in WWE as a whole right now, like the online part, it's like, dude, back away. Like I barely browse Squared Circle at this point. I unfollowed most wrestlers, and I'll be honest, Ryan, it's kind of good. It's like I feel like this. I feel clean. I feel like I could shower without a week, and I would still feel all right, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think we built a great community. There's Like we rarely ever have any problems. We have very few like trolls that we've ever had to deal with. And everyone's just nice. So I'm glad that we've brought in a great group of people, and I think we'll still be talking to a lot of you. Anyone that still wants to talk to us, we will happily talk to you. So don't be afraid about that. Um, but yeah, there's definitely some circles, and there's just a lot of negativity, and I'm kind of just done with in the way that I kind of mentioned this before with wrestling. We're just so much, we can't immerse ourselves in it anymore. We can't just let the story kind of just take us on a journey. We're always looking on the outside. We're always like stepping back and being like, they booked this wrong. They booked it like, instead of being like, I hate Triple H because he attacked John Cena, it's like, why did they book Triple H to attack John Cena? That was such dumb writing, or this was a stupid storyline. Why are they doing, like, why can't we just go along for the journey? I envy like 80s wrestling fans at this point, because they were just along for the ride, and it's like it's so crazy now that it's like I loved the backstage stuff so much for so long, but it's like it's it's kind of had me take a look back and be like, what are we even doing at this point?
Yep.
Like, we're so, like, the Cena Reigns promos, as enjoyable as they are, it's like we've gotten so inside that is like the relevant character work, is when they're talking like from an outside perspective. But it doesn't actually make sense if we're trying to follow like if we're trying to follow the in-universe story. It doesn't actually make sense.
Barnable's right. It's a good thing about you guys ending the show is that all the people that will still communicate with you, aren't toxic or scummy people. You're a community. You're a community that loves you, or you have a community that loves you and will stick around. And like, yeah, to sort of close off, it's kind of like starting from square one, because we're not done with online. As a matter of fact, like now we're kind of going to be around more than less, if you think about it, because like
more, yeah. It's like more interactive.
Yeah. Which honestly, like it's kind of weird. Like we did experiment with that. Like almost 3 years ago, we had a Byte That Twitch channel, and that died, for whatever reason. And now we're just gonna do it on our own terms. That doesn't mean that I can't pop in one of Ryan's streams, or Ryan knows that he's always welcome on Press Pause. Same thing with Keith. Like whatever the three of us want to do. You guys can follow us on Twitter in mine and Ryan's case. Ryan's the Ryan McNulty. I'm Epic JC. So it's a scary territory. Like now we're gonna be doing things that are outside of wrestling. Just as a quick like closure, so Ryan, you also get the plug-arinos at the end. My plan right now is that I'm eventually going to be having two different YouTube channels. One of them is the gaming/entertainment one, which is already up. The other one will launch many months later once I feel like I'm more comfortable with this. And that will be more of a vlog/health/life type channel, where I finally get to talk about some of the mental health things that I wanted to say. Just more of a companion piece. And it's going to be the more podcast friendly stuff. And then of course it's going to be with the Press Pause stream. So Epic JC, look for me on Twitter. Please write to me. And that's about it from my behalf. Ryan, where can they find you?
So you can find me, as one mentioned, on Twitter at the Ryan McNulty. That will have information of when I'm streaming and all of that. So along with just, I'm going to be tweeting about the Patriots and Pokemon, whatever the hell else is going on. So, but my Twitch stream, it's going to go full force once we wrap up with Byte That. So I'm not going to promise any regular schedule until the beginning of October. But it's going to be, you can actually already follow it now. If you go to my Twitter, you'll see the link there, but it's twitch.tv/the Ryan McNulty. I'm going to do some consistent branding. The Ryan McNulty
everywhere.
Is where you'll be able to find, right now I'm sticking to those two platforms. I'm going super simple. I want to take a break from managing a YouTube channel. So if, I just want to work on building up my Twitch stream. That's just sole focus, build my Twitch stream. Once I build, a stable audience, then I can talk about YouTube and putting highlights and things like that. But for now, I just want to simplify things as much as possible so that I can just really be focused on one particular thing and do that well.
Nicole
So yeah,
writes,
twitch.tv/the Ryan McNulty.
Nicole writes, I'm sure people will keep supporting you guys and your different products, and I definitely hope you keep collaborating. Yeah, I think we kind of touched on that.
Yes.
Like, it's going to be a lot easier in that regard. It's going to be more laid back. I think, like, if there's a learning experience we've learned, like, I enjoyed the podcast most, not when we were least prepared, but when we were most comfortable, more laid back. Like, let's stop being, like you mentioned with the whole Oscar thing. We're not news. If you want to get news, there's the PW Torch and PW Insider and Dave Meltzer for that. But like when we were just the three friends and the whole thing that we like started this, like that's when we enjoyed it the most. And then Eddie asks, will we get a Keith farewell / thoughts? The plan is yes. Like Keith was actually going to try to be here today, but he doesn't have his equipment. He's going to be on the podcast at some point before we conclude. So we can't tell you when because that's out of his control right now. But the idea is that in the weeks that we still have left here, at some point he'll join in, and then we can all provide our perspectives in the WWE.
We have 3 podcasts left, and I'll be doing I'll do a pay-per-view review of No Mercy. I think it's we still want to dedicate our time to the channel while for the remainder of this month. We owe that to everyone who has supported us for as long as they have. So it'll be less about the weekly happenings, although we will still cover some of that. We still want to do our SmackDown roster review next week, but whenever Keith, it's safe to assume that Keith will be back before the end of the month. He's just waiting on his equipment, so he may not make it this week, but I think it's a pretty good chance that he'll be there for the following week, if not this week. So. Definitely Keith will have a chance to say how he feels about everything. But yeah.
So as a closing thing, if you guys, unfortunately I know many of you cannot make it live. If you guys have any questions, any topics, anything that you'd like us to do something on like this, like we especially out of everybody want to make good by you guys, our Patreon supporters. So, maybe it's not like another live podcast or live private show like this, but if there's any one topic that you guys want us to go like, hey, do this for like a final weekend video or something, let us know, and we will definitely consider that and reach out to you directly, especially those on the Discord channel. And as Ryan mentioned at the top of the show, before the end of the month, we will be pausing the Patreon. So like that way you guys are not unrightfully billed for the next month. Like we truly appreciate that.
I'm not sure what happens when you pause it. So I don't know if that's going to like stop us from being able to post on it right now. So I think the safe thing to do is just pause it on the last day so nobody gets charged, but we make sure we can still deliver all the content until then. But you ain't getting charged for another month.
No.
You all paid for the final month, and we really thank you for that. That Patreon money has always gone to making the show better. The equipment you see in this screen is because of your support, and we really thank you for supporting us as long as you did. It really means the world to us, and we're sorry that it has to end like this, but we super appreciate everything you guys have done. But like I said before, if our passion isn't there, then you guys deserve better content than that, and we're going to deliver content in other ways, in other projects that we are passionate about. So we hope that you find another content creator out there. There's a lot of great people doing great stuff that look for. You guys took a chance on us when we were small. We're still very much a small channel, so I say take a chance on another small hungry content creator that if you want to fill that WWE void, because you did that for us, and we're happy that you did.
And we truly do appreciate that. At least the Patreon money wasn't a waste. You guys have the technology and equipment to help you guys explore new routes on the internet, like Twitch writes Barnables. And to close things off, like gang, this is of course the closure, the end of a chapter with Byte That, but it's not the end of the book, because come October, you guys have a plethora of ways that you guys can hang out with us. Even just like chatting on Twitter, like little things like that. Like I truly do value all the DMs, all the tweets that we get. Every single person that has told us like, hey, the podcast has helped us get through things. We hope the same thing can be done. Like maybe you can't check out Ryan's live stream, but you can check out the video archive on Twitch, right? So like there's different options. You don't have to just forcefully enjoy the content one way or the other. This has been liberating to do. We've been dying to just tell you guys ever since.
It's been a burden. Yeah, it's been a burden to hold this, for as long as we have, for almost over a week. Yeah, well over a week.
Oh
now.
Yeah.
So we're happy to get it out there, and then of course we'll announce it to everybody on Wednesday. But yeah, no, we really appreciate this, and we're excited about streaming because our favorite things to do, seriously, if people have asked us what's the favorite thing we've done, first of all, we love doing the live show, the live podcast. We love seeing instant feedback while we were covering it. We love doing these private shows. It's nice to just chill and hang out and just be able to read your comments and not have to worry about like sticking to a certain format. And then we love doing the fight night live stream. That was one of our favorite things. So the favorite thing that we've kind of taken away from Byte That is what we're kind of taking. We're taking the wrestling out of it and doing that instead, which is we can chill, we can interact the entire time we're on, and we can play games that we love.
It's going to happen, folks. Coming October, the Ryan McNulty Twitch streams. I heard he's going to get naked for $1. So,
no,
gang,
I don't want to get banned immediately. Day one ban.
No, day one-ish. Day one-ish.
Day one-ish, yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Nicole, Barnables, Eddie, everybody that tuned in live, everybody checking out the video archive. Please, if you're checking out the video archive, comment on the Patreon post or this YouTube video. Once again, any topics, any questions you have, and we will do our maximum potential to cover that for you guys. It is the least that we can do thanks to your committed support. So thank you so much. This isn't the final Byte That video. You still got a couple of weeks of crappy jokes.
Yeah.
Them crappy jokes are going to be even worse now because I got to get them all out of my system, Brian.
Yeah, we got to get them all in. Simon Dean references and Johnny Curtis.
No,
all that.
wait. Jose, no, wait. Yeah, thank you guys. Love you so much. Have an awesome weekend, and have an awesome weekend for everybody out there in Florida. Please stay safe, including Ryan's mom. What's going on? Call you later. Take care, everybody.